Minecraft's breeding mechanics have always been a bit confusing. At first glance, the process seems straightforward. Feed two animals their favorite food, watch hearts appear, and then boom, a baby is born. But look a little closer, and you'll see Minecraft's world is filled with bizarre breeding quirks that make no sense at all. Today, I will try to answer Minecraft's weirdest breeding questions. Why do babies appear instantly? Are chickens actually reptiles? And are all Minecraft mobs female? Before we get into the wild theories, let's lay out the basics of breeding in Minecraft. In the game, most of the time, breeding is initiated when you feed two of the same mob their designated foods. Cows love wheat, pigs prefer carrots and some other veggies, and chickens are all about seeds. Literally every seed. Once you've fed them, hearts start floating around and a baby appears. Simple, right? Well, no. Because there is no gestation period, just a pop and a fully formed child. Okay, sure, the system is designed with gameplay balance in mind. Developers set a 5-minute cooldown after breeding to prevent players from flooding their farms with inbred offspring, which would be OP. But this cooldown and the instant births leave us wondering about the in-game lore behind these mechanics. Could it be that mobs are not going through a traditional reproductive process? What if every mob in Minecraft was always pregnant? Okay, hear me out. This does make sense. Because there is no way they make love for a baby to come out a few seconds later. What if they're all constantly carrying a fully formed baby, and that 5-minute cooldown isn't them recovering from breeding, but that's the time it takes for a new baby to form after they give birth? This theory could explain the instant birth process. The offspring is already developed inside the parent, so after 5 minutes, when they are in love mode again, the baby appears in a flash. There is only one issue here. After breeding, both parents go into a cooldown, suggesting that they were both involved in the process. What backs this up even further is that when mobs like horses and sheep breed, their children share a combination of their parents' traits, like these sheep here, where the baby has a mixture of their wool colors. So I think each parent carries half of a developed baby, and when the time is right and two mobs fall in love, their halves combine to create a new mob. So yes, pregnant isn't quite the right word. Instead of pregnant as we know it, we should think of mobs as carrying something like a blob of goo, life energy, or even two miniature cows that merge to form an entire offspring. How these two halves merge? Don't ask me. No cells are slowly dividing and there is no development. It is just preloaded mob essence joining together to create life. And if that's true, we need to ask the next big question. Are all Minecraft mobs female? For both mobs to be pregnant at all times, they must both be female. And that surprisingly works. Think about it. Cows, for instance, have udders. In real life, udders are associated exclusively with females. And in Minecraft, you can milk both parents. Yeah, it would be weird to milk a male cow. This idea isn't just limited to cows. Chickens, for example, all lay eggs. Female mobs would make sense, but Notch actually helps us here, because he once mentioned that all mobs in the game are genderless and tend to exhibit the most prominent traits of both genders. This twist implies that while they can give birth or lay eggs, they might also embody qualities of both sexes. It even makes you wonder about the whole milk situation. The next question concerns chickens, which presents an even more mind-bending case in Minecraft breeding. So yes, feed a pair of chickens and a baby chick appears almost instantly because the chickens are always pregnant. However, chickens in Minecraft are also known for their egg-laying capabilities, which are laid between 5 and 10 minutes. When you throw an egg, there is a 1 in 12 chance it will hatch into a chick, giving us two ways they reproduce: giving birth and chicken gambling. This is weird, giving birth and laying eggs, but that's not too unrealistic. A real-life creature that can do this is the Australian three-toed skink. And yes, it does look like a snake with cute little arms. It's confirmed, Minecraft chickens are reptiles. Oh, you think that's too far out? Explain this. To give birth, you need two chickens. But even if a chicken is alone in a pen and never meets another chicken, destined to be lonely forever, its eggs can still produce baby chicks. This means that chickens can also produce asexually, only requiring one parent. You know what other animal can reproduce asexually? The New Mexico whiptail lizard. a species where every single member is female. Their eggs develop into embryos without fertilization, just like Minecraft chickens. So yes, chickens are probably reptiles, involved in a worldwide conspiracy, along with a bunch of other celebrities. Oh, you thought that was strange? What about parrots? Unlike chickens, they cannot lay eggs. That's right, Minecraft's only other bird doesn't even follow basic bird biology, and interestingly enough, you cannot breed parrots at all. Ironically, both parrots and bats are listed in the Parrots and the Bats advancement for breeding two mobs, yet neither can actually breed. So, Minecraft parrots refuse to breed, but you know what can multiply? My subscriber count. Just hit that subscribe button if you want more videos like this. I dive deep into video game worlds to answer the questions nobody else is asking, but definitely should be. Want to support the channel even more? Click join to become a channel member and unlock exclusive perks, including the special Legend Roll on my Discord server, which you should totally join. Okay, speaking of chickens, parrots, and laying eggs, not all Minecraft mobs adhere to the standard instant baby system. Some, like turtles, sniffers, and frogs, follow a more traditional egg-laying process. Sorry, chickens. Unlike cows or pigs, turtles don't give birth in the traditional sense. Instead, when you feed turtles, they produce eggs that must be laid on sand. These eggs then require a 10-minute incubation period to hatch. And interestingly, the process speeds up at night, probably because of the zombies trying to kill the babies. Sniffers are ancient, dinosaur-like mobs that don't even spawn naturally. Instead, you must find their eggs in ocean ruins and suspicious sand. Once you locate these relics and hatch them, you can then feed 2 sniffers torchflower seeds to produce another egg. Frogs also rely on egg laying, requiring a 10-minute period for their eggs to hatch. Their process is similar to that of turtles, though they lay eggs in water, and when their eggs hatch, it produces tadpoles that later grow into frogs, just like real life. Unlike chickens, these newer egg-laying mobs reflect Mojang's push for realism, which only deepens the inconsistency of Minecraft's reproductive logic. Nonetheless, the always pregnant theory still applies here. These mobs also have a breeding cooldown, suggesting they're always primed to reproduce. The only twist is that instead of 2 mobs merging their reproductive halves to produce a live baby, they create eggs. While most of our discussion has focused on animals, villagers stand out as a unique case in Minecraft's reproductive landscape. Unlike other mobs that require nothing but a favorite food to breed, villagers have a far more elaborate process. They need beds. Not just any beds, but correctly claimed and positioned ones to trigger their breeding behavior. You'd think they need beds as a place to, do the breeding, but they can do it pretty much anywhere. They need to have beds so that new villagers have a place to sleep and live. For the same reasons mentioned with other mobs, we can assume villagers are all genderless and always pregnant. As I mentioned before, Notch said mobs tend to exhibit the most prominent traits of both mob genders, which makes me wonder which part of the villagers are supposed to be female. Additionally, villagers can breed autonomously by gathering and sharing food, making their reproductive cycle the only one that can occur without direct player intervention. This raises a few questions. Villagers are the only mob that will breed by picking up food that either they or the player puts on the floor. Other mobs will simply ignore food on the floor, even their desired food, meaning players have to manually feed them so they can breed. Basically, without the player, animals wouldn't breed at all, and probably die out. We've talked about giving birth and egg laying, but there is one more way Minecraft's mobs can breed. Just when you thought things couldn't get any stranger, Minecraft introduces mechanisms that seem to defy the very concept of biological reproduction. The allays and the shulkers, 2 mobs that duplicate in utterly baffling ways. Unlike the standard breeding process, allays duplicate themselves truly magically. While dancing to music, if you give an allay an amethyst shard, it somehow clones itself. This isn't breeding in the traditional sense at all. It's more akin to a form of asexual reproduction, or even mitosis. Then there are the shulkers, the mysterious blocky mobs that lurk in the end cities. When a shulker is struck by a shulker projectile, sometimes even one of its own shulker bullets, it has a chance to teleport and inadvertently leave behind a duplicate. This accidental duplication is perhaps the strangest mechanic, as it implies a form of self-impregnation or reproduction due to an accident in teleportation. These unusual cases of duplication and self-replication serve as the final puzzle pieces in our overall theory. Minecraft's mobs are all genderless, constantly pregnant creatures ready to pop out a baby made by merging, or they just duplicate themselves. And if you thought all of that was mind-bending, just remember, in creative mode, you can spawn any mob with an egg, which, if canon, just takes the breeding confusion to another level. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and please do subscribe. Thanks for watching!